I can't speak for you, but one of my favorite things about driving for DoorDash, Uber Eats, or any other app for that matter, is the fact that I don't have a nagging boss breathing down my neck all day. I can make money the way I choose, without interference. Apps such as DoorDash and Uber Eats have provided millions of drivers flexible hours and usually reasonable pay. But how long can that last? What is going on, everybody? My name is Zach. I hope you are doing well. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, please do consider pressing the like and subscribe button so you never miss news, tips, tricks, and ride-alongs with a healthy dose of humor. Before we get too far into the video, I'd like to make it clear, I'm not trying to clickbait, fearmonger, or cause any panic. But there's a trend that I've been seeing both in and out of the gig economy that's causing increasing concern for me. Before we go any further, I'd like you to tell me in the comments section what you personally view as the biggest threat to our ability to make money in the gig economy. Pause the video, share your thoughts. There's no bad answers. I've been keeping a pretty close eye on a few things that are becoming increasingly alarming to me. Some of the things that are going to be discussed in this video are still years away from having any real impact on our jobs, while others are imminent and should be viewed as an immediate cause for concern. These will be put in order of what I view as least concerning to currently happening, so make sure to stick around to the end of the video. I'd like to start with something concerning, but not necessarily an immediate threat. It's no secret that food delivery companies in the United States are just not profitable. In fact, in 2021, DoorDash pulled in $4.9 billion, but still managed to lose $468 million. In 2021, Uber pulled in almost $17.5 billion, but managed to lose $496 million. Year to date, DoorDash's stock price is down more than 60%. And while they don't answer to their drivers, they damn sure answer to their shareholders. I'd like to keep this one fairly brief, as many companies can operate on investor money and debt for decades before turning a profit. However, there is one point that I'd like to make. When DoorDash feels like they need to save a few $1,000,000, they usually find it in the form of our base pay or incentives. All it would take for us to see $1 base pay is a few of their largest investors to strongly encourage it. I'd like to move on to something that I feel is a little more concerning, but shouldn't be too alarming. Yet. If you were to fly around the world and visit Australia, you might see kangaroos, spiders, and Australians.
G'day, mate.
But you may also see drones delivering DoorDash orders. Thanks to a new pilot program, DoorDash customers in Logan, Australia can opt to have their order delivered by a drone. There are a handful of companies in the States that are offering similar services, but I'd like to focus on one. Wing. They also happen to be the company that DoorDash is partnering with in Australia. Some of you might be thinking, well, yeah, Zach, but that's in Australia. How is that relevant to me and my income? Wing is an American company that operates in the US, Australia, and Finland. They're already operating in the United States, just not with DoorDash. Yet. The first company I heard talk about delivering packages via drone was Amazon back in 2013. It's been 9 years, and most of us still can't get our Prime orders delivered by a drone. So, why should we worry if a company as big as Amazon has a hard time getting it off the ground? No pun intended. Well, Wing is operated by a larger company. A much larger company. Wing is owned by Alphabet Inc., the parent company of Google. Wing already holds a Part 135 certificate with the FAA, which authorizes them to legally operate within United States airspace without line of sight, meaning that the drone operator does not need to have eyes on it to operate it. Furthermore, the FAA has already made exemptions for Part 135 operators. Wing, UPS, and Amazon all hold these certifications. So it's not just food delivery companies that are viewing this as a viable delivery option. See, a drone doesn't care if a customer tips. All it cares about is avoiding trees, water, and hillbillies with guns. I'm willing to bet that the electricity it would cost to charge one of those drones would be less than the amount that they pay us in base pay per order. Personally, I don't see how drone delivery could be widely implemented across the United States. There's entire neighborhoods in my own city that would be completely inaccessible to drones due to tree cover. At worst, I could see this being an option regionally in areas with few trees and hillbillies. These drones will also need a place to charge, and the range of a modern drone isn't that of a Tesla. The companies operating these drones would need to have a base of operations, so to speak, close enough to the restaurant and the drop-off point. Furthermore, many apps have moved away from addresses when using GPSs and have moved in the direction of pins that may or may not take you to the correct location. I don't know about you, but I'm not about to hop over my obnoxious neighbor Larry's fence to be met by his pit bull Princess when my fucking order lands in his yard. In addition, commercial drones can't carry heavy payloads. We're talking less than a few pounds. This drastically limits the number of orders that could be delivered by a drone, at least with our current technology. If all of this wasn't bad enough, when your 2 egg rolls are delivered in the middle of the road, lurking Larry might see that order drop out of the sky and decide he's hungry. This has so many obstacles that would need to be overcome before this would be a viable option for any of these companies. However, it should be on your radar because it's on their radar. Are you concerned about drones delivering food? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Since the skies aren't going to be producing much competition for us in the foreseeable future, what about the ground, or more specifically the sidewalks? I'd like to introduce you to Starship. This evil little fucker is a fully autonomous food delivery robot whose sole purpose is to steal our jobs and just deliver food. Just like a drone, this little shithead doesn't have a brain and doesn't care if the customer tips or not. Now, this one is slightly more alarming to me because this is already happening in the United States. DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub have all invested in robotics. They see the future as less drivers and more robots. In programming, there's this really geeky thing called a nested loop. It's essentially just a loop within a loop. What you're about to hear is going to be kind of a nested rant, or a rant within a rant. We're seeing a few companies, but mainly DoorDash, try anything to get their orders delivered, no matter how much the customer tipped, without paying us more. We've seen it with TopDasher, where they used to promise higher paying orders for higher acceptance rates. Now we're currently seeing that with the high pay order program. Not to mention the hourly pay program, which virtually guarantees that all of their shitty fucking orders get delivered. I guess the lies of manipulation aren't getting enough of their bad orders delivered, so they feel the need to experiment with robots and drones. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Those orders would get delivered if we were compensated reasonably for the time we spent on them and for the miles that we traveled. But let's get back to this ET-looking motherfucker. If you were to type delivery robot fail into YouTube, you'd be met with a slew of videos on exactly why this isn't working. Some of my favorites were one of these little bastards getting run over by a train and blowing up in a violent and dramatic manner. Don't worry, the train was fine. I don't give a fuck about the robot though. Another gem was the robot going under police tape through an active crime scene investigation. There's also countless videos of them getting caught on curbs, tipping over on stairs, and getting flipped over by assholes. Are they assholes if they're helping us? Let me know in the comment section. And while I'm sure that the food compartment is sealed off, I'd still be a little concerned that a dog or a drunkie is going to take a piss on my food robot. I don't think E.T. the robot is going to be able to get into secure buildings, unlatch a gate, or drive more than 4 miles an hour. No, seriously, they only move 4 miles an hour. Talk about cold food refunds. It's obvious by the search results on YouTube that these things have a slew of problems as well. But there's something I would like to point out. I doubt many people would have been willing to test drive the first alpha build of Tesla's self-driving car software. But every mile driven has made them safer, and now there's over 2 million vehicles on the road that are capable of fully driving themselves, usually safely. I want to rewind the clock for a moment. Back in the year 2000, Blockbuster had the opportunity to purchase Netflix for $50 million, but passed on the offer because they didn't see the value in a streaming service. Mistakes were made, as Netflix is now worth $127 billion, and we all know how Blockbuster's doing. This is what a Ford factory looked like in the 1940s, and this is what one looks like today. And while a few do still exist, when was the last time you went to a travel agent's office? Nowadays, people just go to Expedia, Kayak, or Cheap Ass Air. I think it might actually be Cheapo Air. Don't sue me. My point is, technology replaces people, and while the methods that they're experimenting with right now don't seem very viable, technology is always improving, and eventually, that little Satan robot will be able to do our jobs as efficiently as we do. This is technology that multiple companies are investing in. Let me know in the comment section if you're concerned about the damn robot. Alright, let's move on to the one that is immediately imminent. Over the last several years, we've seen federal, state, and local government agencies get involved in the various practices of gig companies. Some of the results have been very beneficial for drivers, while others, not so much. When an outside agency gets involved, there usually seems to be a fundamental misunderstanding about what we actually do and what it is that we truly want. We say we want transparency, but what they hear is that we want benefits. We say we want to drive whenever we choose, and they hear we want paid time off. You see what I'm getting at here? Just like I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what a politician's average day looks like, they need to quit pretending that they know what we need and what it is that we want. Is there shit that gig companies pull that should be illegal? Absolutely. But bringing the drivers and the companies closer together by making us an employee isn't the right answer. That's exactly what's happening currently. I've done an entire video about this subject, so if you want to check it out, the link will be in the description. In the meantime, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. The U.S. Department of Labor has proposed a rule change that, if adopted, would see independent contractors reclassified as W-2 employees. In my opinion, this is disastrous for drivers, as it would essentially strip away every freedom that we have enjoyed as independent contractors. I don't know about you, but I'm damn sure not about to be a yes Tony, right away Tony ass motherfucker. However, this is the reality of the situation that's in front of us currently. There's a little bit of hope though. This is one of those few times that drivers and gig companies agree with each other. This isn't good for us or them. That means that if this rule change is adopted, there would likely be a court battle, potentially lasting years. Obviously, the best case scenario is that the rule change proposal just isn't adopted. But if it actually is, I'm willing to bet we'd still have a couple of years before it would actually affect us. However, this hurdle is here now, and every driver needs to be aware of it and the possible ramifications it could cause. I'm not going to sit here and say all government interference is bad for us, but until they know what we do and what we truly want, they need to stay the fuck out of it and let us make our own financial decisions. Well, that's going to about wrap up the video. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like and subscribe button so you never miss news, tips, tricks, and ride-alongs with a healthy dose of humor. My name is Zach. Take care.